Yo, what's going on, people, and welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that, guys. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts on it, and as always, more importantly, asking for yours. Today, it's Tuesday, of course, in a transfer window, so it's the Athletic transfer deal sheet publicised every Tuesday morning that we're going to react to, as well as, of course, the story that broke yesterday, the potential Nkunku Garnacho swap deal / not swap deal from Matt Law of The Telegraph. And Chelsea have been contacted, or the Premier League contacting Chelsea over the Bowley ticket website Vivid Seats, which is important as well. So, thanks for joining me. Strap yourselves in. I'm very grateful for all your support, as always. It's important for me to say we're over 195,000 subscribers here on the channel. Over 6 years old, of course, now, which is incredible, really, that we've been doing this together for so long. So thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. Let's get into it. Yeah, it was published on the 22nd of June. I did share it on my social media, but the Premier League have contacted Chelsea over Bowley's involvement with Vivid Seats. The Chelsea Supporters Trust wrote about this. It is very, very important in a world of just, first of all, insane ticket prices. Across all stadiums and clubs, you get like... It's ruining atmospheres as well, because you get all these these big money rollers that aren't real, I don't say aren't real fans, they could be real fans, but they're going more for an experience rather than the supporters that want to go to Chelsea and, sing, and they've gone because their dads took them or their grandparents, or, they've gone for a long time with their friends and family. And Vivid Seats is a platform that sells tickets for as much as £20,000. So the involvement with Todd Bowley, of course, has to be looked into. It has to be dealt with, hopefully. Even if it's just for like the optics, you can't be seen to be involved in an operation that is fleecing your own fans, essentially. I've spoken about this a while ago when it came out, but it's gone around the news again because it's the Premier League have contacted Chelsea. So hopefully it gets resolved and Bowley just removes himself. That's ideally what needs to happen. Alright then, so we'll start off with the transfer deal sheet. So Chelsea first, here it is. I'm not going to stay on the share screen, I'm just showing you for reference, it's on the Athletic. And then we'll move over, we'll talk about Matt Law's, report with Garnacho. And of course there's been a big fallout over the last sort of 12 hours or so. Chelsea fans reacting to that. I will give you my reaction as well. Right, so Chelsea. Has anything happened over the past week? Well, of course, Mykhailo Mudryk was charged by the FA for violating its anti-doping rules. His second, he obviously had an A sample. His B sample was tested positive. A violation of the Football Association's anti-doping regulations carries out a maximum penalty of 4-year suspension from football. Mental, innit, really? I know we've had this percolating in the background for a while, but it's such a huge story. When the news broke originally 6 months ago, Mudryk released a statement, of course, saying he never knowingly took any banned substances. Chelsea, of course, have gone back into the market for a right-footed left winger anyway, and this is emphasised while they need to get a deal over the line. So we know Mudryk's banned provisionally. We know Sancho's gone. So is Gittins the priority for the wing? I'm going to guess yes. Or would they consider others? Chelsea have a list of players for the position. So it's not as if Jamie Gittins is the only option on their minds. On the tangent, I do wonder if there's a chance we'll sign 2 left-sided attackers, maybe? There's plenty of time. However, the fact that they have agreed terms with the player over a 7-year deal still makes the 20-year-old the most likely addition. Chelsea are unconcerned by reports suggesting that Bayern Munich are a rival for his signature. Of course, that was a big story the last day or so. And do not see them as a threat. Really? I mean, if they were genuinely interested, I'd see them as a threat. But I guess they think Gittins wants Chelsea. He's agreed the deal, so... the question remains whether they can agree a fee with Borussia Dortmund, having had their last bid of £42 million, which is a lot, guys, for a player like Gittins, who's still potential to a degree. Which was going to be paid in installments rather than upfront. That was rejected. Conversations between the two clubs are ongoing. The Athletic reported earlier this month that Chelsea have made a verbal inquiry for Lyon's Malik Fofana. I wonder personally if that's a backup option, if that's, not a negotiation tactic against Dortmund, but like a showing, we are looking at alternatives, mate. We're not just looking at your boy, who, by the way, only wants to join us. Trying to apply pressure on Borussia Dortmund. They have also admired, of Manchester United's Alejandro Garnacho for some time. And should the Argentinian leave Old Trafford, he would like to remain in the Premier League and favours London as a destination. Keep your powder dry. We're going to come back to that. So what positions are we looking at? So apart from the winger with Jamie Gittins, Chelsea's another main priority is a versatile attacker. We keep hearing about this versatile sort of auxiliary, can play a bit of everywhere. And of course, we hold an interest in West Ham's Mohamed Kudus and Brighton's Joao Pedro. Eintracht Frankfurt forward Ugo Ekitike is also liked, but Chelsea will only make a move for him if the asking price of 100 million euros is lowered. It's tricky with Ekitike because I don't think he's pushing for a move away. I think he realises he had a sort of wrong move to PSG, goes to Frankfurt, sorts himself out. They've qualified for the Champions League, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, they did. So they qualified for the Champions League, Frankfurt. Third place in the Bundesliga. So as a young striker, it's not the worst thing in the world to carry on there for a season and play in the Champions League. So I don't think, it's a stressful situation. I think he might consider going, but he's happy to stay, and he's not going to ask, I don't think, Frankfurt to screw themselves financially. Well, because they don't need the money because they got the Champions League money. So he's not going to be like, oh, sell me at a discount price. He'll probably be like thankful for the time he's had with them and been like, yeah, let's go and party in the Champions League, mate. Do you know what I mean? Chelsea have been linked for a move with Randall Kolo Muani, on loan at Juventus from PSG, but there is nothing in it. Well, there you go. That's the story we reacted to yesterday or the day before, but this is The Athletic, Ornstein, Simon Johnson, Dem Man saying no. Interesting. Right, so this is important. They held talks with Milan over the keeper, Mike Maignan, and we've also reacted to stories suggesting, from Italy as well, suggesting that Maignan agreed a long-term deal with Chelsea, which, I found tricky to believe, personally, only to end their pursuit earlier this month after failing to agree terms with Milan, that is, not the player. A deal for another goalkeeper this summer is deemed unlikely as things stand. Now, before we move on the goalkeeper, I'm hoping and praying that this new ownership at Chelsea, they brief like crazy, like absolute crazy. I'm hoping this is a briefing for, again, a negotiation standpoint. Don't worry, goalkeeping vendors, the vendors of goalkeepers, we're not looking at them anymore. We've got loads. We're happy. We're not going to get ripped off for a goalkeeper. And then someone goes along and says, you can have this one for this much. All right, then. I want a new goalkeeper. As much as Penders might be the truth, I need someone now. I do. I want a new goalkeeper. I really do. What have I done here? Stop that. I've clicked the wrong thing. I just want a new goalkeeper, mate. No disrespect to Sanchez. Go play for West Ham and Graham Potter and just be something that I don't have to deal with. Please. There you go. My position, nailing my colours to the mast. Just get me a new goalkeeper. So what players could be leaving? Ooh la la, Christopher Nkunku. Christo, valued at £65 million. What are they smoking in that Chelsea office? Because we bought him for 50 and he hasn't just gained £15 million increase in value after just not playing for 2 years and not being used and being injured. That's mental. I mean, that was his January signing, evaluation, so maybe money back. He's liked by Manchester United. Again, more on that in a moment. And though there has been recent contact, they have prioritised other forward signings like Cunha and Mbermo this summer. Yeah, they can't keep just signing, 27-year-old versatile forwards. Excuse me, that will cost a lot of money and be on significant wages. Or can they? When asked about Nkunku on Monday, Maresca said Christo is our player. He's doing very well in the last 4 or 5 days. He could get some chances. Can he? Can he? Do we want that? If any interest progresses with United forward Alejandro Garnacho, mentioned above, or Nkunku, there would be separate deals. There's been a lot of scrutiny over forward Nicholas Jackson following his red card against Flamengo. Yep, his recent red card. Chelsea are not actively looking to sell Nicholas Jackson, but they do not regard him as untouchable. Excuse me. As they do with such players like Cole Palmer and Moises Caicedo. They see these two guys as untouchable, too good to sell. Nicholas Jackson, they're not actively trying to sell him. They don't view him as too good to sell. Even though they gave him a contract extension to 2033. There's interest from Premier League clubs, from the Saudi Pro League, and like Juventus and Napoli as well. So high-profile Champions League clubs, Premier League clubs. Chelsea do not think any of these clubs can afford the 24-year-old in terms of what they would want to sell him for. Santos is yet, so this is a big concern. Everyone's worried about Andre Santos. He's yet to play a minute for the at the Club World Cup, but he is part of Chelsea's plans. Collective sigh of relief there from the Chelsea fans. And it's more of a reflection of Chelsea's desire to win the tournament, as in, I suppose, players that have been recently playing and are up to speed with Maresca. He's only been with Maresca's squad for a couple of weeks and is still learning to adapt. Winger Noni Madueke is in a similar position to Jackson. The club are not putting him up for sale, but a bid might be listened to if high enough. So yeah. Again, yeah, we've been reacting to like stories of Arsenal links and stuff like that. Georgi Petrovic will be sold if the club agrees to pay £25 million. Probably we double our money on him. He's a good goalkeeper. That's probably pretty good value for him. As per a gentleman's agreement between the club and the 25-year-old Serbia international. And of course, the club are still planning to sell a number of personnel. This includes the likes of Raz Sterling, Chili B, Axel Disasi, Renato Vega, which should make a handsome profit on, Carney Chukwuemeka, which is a bit sad, and Bruya, I was going to say we'll make a loss, but we won't because he's a pure profit asset, but his value is just plummeted. Meanwhile, US men's national team international Caleb Wiley is on the verge of joining Watford on a season-long loan. Teddy Sharman Lowe is also agreed a loan at Bolton Warriors. Okay, so just before we end on this deal sheet here, it talks about how do Kudus, João Pedro, and Ekitike differ. So this kind of like different versatile attacker saying they're all versatile. Maresca wants players who can play anywhere across the front line, drop deep to link up play, and rotate with teammates to pull apart stubborn low blocks, something that all can offer in different ways. Kudus is the most explosive of the three, a stocky ball carrier who likes to drive his team up the pitch with weaving runs. Only Lamine Yamal has attempted more take-ons than the Ghanaian last season in Europe's top 5 leagues, and his position map illustrates below that he can translate his punchy attacking play across areas on the pitch. Here we go. He has played centre forward, quite a lot actually. Second striker, not much. Right wing, right attacking mid, left attacking mid, left mid. So 15%, significant, and right mid. So he's played everywhere. Absolutely ruddy everywhere. Ekitike is more of a box presence, a striker I suppose. Only Erling Haaland and Mohamed Salah took more shots in the penalty area than the 23-year-old across Europe. I like that. High volume of shots. I'm always saying it, guys. I'm always saying it. A high volume of shots is good. But he's also elusive when he can drift out to the flanks and dribble. He's a unique profile, tall and slender, but powerful when he gets into his flow, though concerns linger on his consistency in front of goal, and of course, sizable price tag. And finally, João Pedro, meanwhile, brings a little bit of everything. Not as destructive with his dribbling as the other two, but very comfortable dropping deep and creating chances for his teammates. Which is good, which is what you need when you're trying to get more goals out of your wingers. He works hard off the ball too, spending most of his time in the pockets on the left half space before timing his runs into the box. And of course he can play as a striker quite comfortably, yeah? The sheer quantity of attacking talent already at Chelsea is dizzying, but the latest raft of Chelsea targets prove a desire for more flexibility across the final third. Hmm. Yeah, some high profile, exciting signings potentially to be made there. Okay. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but Matt Law wrote an article on this. Alejandro Garnacho and Christopher Nkunku. Of course, this guy, Christopher Vivell, remember him? At Chelsea, left because he realised he wasn't going to be a third wheel to the romantic bromance of Stuart and Winstanley. And he was like a sort of, I suppose, a director of recruitment for Chelsea as well. He's now at Man United. He was there in like a temporary role. They really like him and they're going to keep him full time. He was at Chelsea when we signed Christopher Nkunku. And I believe he originates from the RB setup. Therefore, he is going to have a long history with Christopher Nkunku from Germany to Chelsea and possibly to Manchester. Now, we all might have our own opinions about Nkunku to Manchester United. I think I spoke about it yesterday a little bit. They've made an inquiry for him. I think he'd be a lot better at Man United than he is at Chelsea, which might bring its own concerns for you. But maybe Man United aren't viewed as like an immediate rival to us, and therefore strengthening them isn't. And that's awful. Like, it's very funny, but it's awful for United for us to be able to say that. So therefore, you'd be like, oh, if we give them Nkunku, if they go from 15th to 8th, it's not the end of the world for us. Whereas if you gave him to an Arsenal or whatever, like a Liverpool and Man City are just juiced up to the eyeballs anyway. So, or a Tottenham maybe. I know Tottenham finished 38 points, but they've got a new good manager. So, yeah, man, you can make your own decision about Nkunku. I'd prefer him to go to Bayern Munich, of course, just so he can't bite us as easy. But obviously, the huge story here is Alejandro Garnacho. But it just won't go away. It won't go away. The story, him linking him to Chelsea. Chelsea fans keep talking about it rightly. And it's very interesting because, look, he does seem like a very problematic guy in many ways. Like, there's, stories about training, attitude, him sticking his, finger up at fans and being pictured up post-season, doing his brother's, like, really problematic on social media. And he just seems like, in a world at Chelsea where you're looking for seniority and all this kind of stuff, bringing him in just seems a bit mental. Garnacho wants to stay in the Prem. I think he's really ambitious. He realises how good the Prem is. Okay. It's tough, right? Because Garnacho, here it comes, is an exciting footballer. There, I said it, right? He is. He scored like a push-gas winner. Didn't he win the push-gas with that overhead kick? He's got some big old gonads on him, which for me feels quite Chelsea. And yes, look, he hasn't got like the goals, and he's been playing for like the worst Man United side ever. And when I watch Manchester United, often laughing at them, look how bad Man United are. Often, I watch them and I think, Garnacho's always there. He's always an outlet. He's always available, He's always he's just always there, basically, and he's always part of it. Kind of like in a way like Noni Madueke. He always underperforms. His finishing is terrible, okay? So in all of his seasons at Man United since 21, he's underperformed his XG by 7.2. I mean, to be honest, it's just because he always underperforms them, basically. His first season didn't really do anything, so he had 2 appearances, 11 minutes. So the last 3 seasons, I guess Ten Hag brought him into the side, didn't he? He's never overperformed his XG. He's consistently underperformed. He does get a lot of chances. He takes a high volume of shots. But he's not the strongest guy. He's quite lean, but he's just so crazy explosive. There's, again, the analyst Alex on Tifo Football, he did a myth-busting thread on social media. And he says, I really like Garnacho and yada, yada, yada. And apparently football scouts like him. So you're asking the question, Yannick, do you want to sign Garnacho to Chelsea? No. Let me get that one out there. I don't want him to sign him. All I'm trying to do is pretty much highlight that perhaps people aren't necessarily seeing the whole picture. And he's 20 years old, by the way. It feels like he's been around. It feels like he's like 26, the way people talk about him. But he's 20. He's only recently not a teenager, but he's had so much experience in the Premier League. You know, imagine if he can grow up a little bit. You know, I just feel like there is a player there to become really good. And maybe, like all the other players that leave Man United and do really well, he might be one of them. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Leave your thoughts, feelings down in the comment section. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content, for liking the video, for subscribing to the channel. Again, as always, if you've made it to the end of the video, you might enjoy my content. Therefore, you might like the sister channel, Football Yannick, where I essentially speak about all the non-Chelsea footballing stories. Right. Keep it locked, guys. I do hope to see you back here soon. Peace.